Welcome everyone, and I declare the September Albury Council meeting, Warrandyte Council open. Call for apologies and applications for leave of absence for councillors.
Mr Mayor, we received apologies from Councillors Taylor, Brewer, Walker and Bruce.
For apologies noted, someone happy to move those apologies? Councillor Derrick, Councillor McCloskey. If nothing further, we'll put that. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Moving on to the minutes of the Albury meeting held on Thursday, the 25th of August. Someone happy to move with those Kingsley to an active record? Councillor White, let's move that. Seconded, Councillor Kingsley. Councillor White.
Yeah, I recommend the minutes to you. I see they're an accurate reporting of the meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Whiteley. Anything further regarding the minutes of the August Albury meeting of council? Nothing further, we'll put that. All those in favour? Against? Moving on to item 4 on our agenda, the disclosure of interests. Has any councillor registered a disclosure of interest in matters relating to today's council meeting? None received. Thank you. Councillors, I have one mayoral minute, and that is that the Warrandyte Council extends its deepest sympathy to members of the royal family on the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. For 70 years, Her Majesty the Queen reigned as Australia's head of state. She was the first reigning monarch to visit Australia, doing so 16 times. We offer thanks for a lifetime of public duty to the Crown and to the Commonwealth. Please be upstanding as we join in a minute of silence in recognition of the service of Queen Elizabeth II to our nation and our council in an indirect way. Thank you, councillors. Moving on to item 6 on our agenda, the reports of the committees. The first of those being the meeting of the Traffic Committee held on the Thursday, the 1st of September. Someone happy to move those minutes? Councillor Powell being absent. Councillor Derrick, happy to move those. Thank you. Second. Councillor Whiteley. Councillor Derrick.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I was not in attendance at the meeting and don't have anything further to add. We can move with any comments from the staff who were in attendance. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Derrick. To the General Manager, or to the Division Manager of Engineering Services, read the Traffic Committee meeting minutes. Is there anything you wish to add to those, our understanding of those minutes?
No, please.
There were some questions about visibility on the Wombianga Road near River Bend, but that's been seen as being satisfactorily dealt with. Yeah. There being nothing further on the minutes of the Traffic Committee meeting, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Moving on to item 3, meeting of the Sport Facilities Committee held on September the 7th, Wednesday. Someone happy to move that? Councillor Whiteley's happy to move it. Thank you. Councillor Jackson. Councillor Whiteley.
I was apologetic for the meeting. Councillor McCloskey was there. I apologise for not being at that meeting. I commend the minutes to the council.
I'll talk to the,
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Council, what was really being set up is just a number of other projects, mostly over at Victoria Park, and another one at the Warramul Memorial Swimming Pool to try to have a list of further grants and who would be involved as partners to those grants, and that's really 3 recommendations. The item 6.5 just talks about a plan we're attempting to try to instigate for the finalisation of most works over at Carter Oval, in an attempt within reason to have most works finished for a special cricket game that's in March 2023. Things aren't finished. It won't be opened up. But lots of things are starting to be finalised from quotations and ordering, and you'll start to see lots of work starting to happen over there, and hopefully by about end of November an amenities block for a start.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any further comments, questions regarding the minutes of the sporting facilities meeting? Being nothing further, we'll put that. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Moving on to the meeting of the Warren Airport Operations Committee held Tuesday the 13th September. I have to read those minutes. Councillor McCloskey, second. Councillor Jackson. Councillor McCloskey.
Yeah, I wasn't following you at the meeting, but I do have a question, if I could, just maybe the general message for the chair get into. With regards to the terminal building, I noticed in the airport terminal progress 6.1, there are a number of options in terms of what potentially the building might look like when it's finished. The frame that's out there, is it still going to be used as it is? It's not going to be, because it looks here about it being a 1-storey building as opposed to a 2-storey building.
We're actually using the top story to make and really option 2 was the box gutter between them. We don't want that.
Yeah.
So we just have a small gap.
Yeah.
And there is some adjustmts that we have to do.
I can understand that, but yeah, it's just not going to be shoved aside and a total new frame.
And it's really a warning that the budget. But in the end, we won't have a disability access problem if it's 1 story.
If it's on the ground.
Yeah.
I think, Councillor McCloskey, I think that's a reasonable conclusion to have come to. We just don't need to make it work our own back. In that sense, if we can use what's the framework that's
What's
already.
there? Yeah.
Thank you. Any further comments, questions regarding the minutes of the Airport Operations Committee meeting? Nothing further, we'll put that. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Move on to the meeting of the Managed Committee held on Tuesday again, the same day, 13th September. Someone happy to move those minutes of the managed meeting? Councillor Jackson, thank you. Second. Councillor Derrick. Councillor Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I didn't really have any specific questions about this, the items on here at this point.
Thank you. What the minutes have tried to do is so everyone, including ourselves, the operational staff, is trying to have an understanding of all our flood damage claims and things that we've received and things that we're still so budgets we've received, budgets we've been paid for, and future budgets we hope. So I commend everyone having a look at 4.31, 4.32, 4.33 and 4.34 in an attempt to try to see where things are at for the different declared disasters, which so far have been now the 4th one. We just had the 4th one advised to us. The numbers are AGRN 960, which was March 2021, AGR N 987, which is the November-December 21, AGR 1025, which is, we call it June-July, because ours don't just go for a couple of days, ours goes for months. And of course, then the August 22 flood and storm damage, and a reasonable chance that we will try again for a September 22. The main reason we want to make sure we get them in and get them approved is we can start moving some, because a lot of damage is damage on damage, and that damage then can be moved to another one further down the track, time-wise, to get it done. And then, as I say, there's comments on 4.3, 3.6, where we're starting to make movements and why we're making movements for extra resources in the engineering department. And it's because we probably could do most works that are contained in our normal grant works, but not all this extra stuff that we're starting to get. And that's why we need extra resources, and I feel comfortable increasing the size of the workforce. Some other positive stuff is 4.37. So we've received approval for our G traffic control general and our R2 conditional, and our F5, which is finance 5 million application, has been approved for pre-qualification. Now it's R2 conditional is because you stay conditional unless you go and get a third party to audit you. We may do that in the future when we start to feel comfortable of being good at the processes that we had to set up. And we're slowly working through all the requirements of inspection and using our confirmed asset management system and there's still a lot of work happening with that.
Yeah. My comment is it is fortuitous in that now we're in control of our own destiny on state highway, but in these circumstances, I think that's a big positive. So, yeah, thank you, Sylvester, for your work in getting us to this stage, and may it continue. Thank you. Any further comments, questions regarding the next meeting held on
Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
One really interesting one is 9.1, the electric vehicle charging station. They're the first 5 or 6 locations that have been considered. There may be a 7th one in conjunction with a firm in town that's being investigated, who may be wanting to do their own charging station. We could join forces with them. But a lot of the capacity everywhere is the problem.
Sorry, what capacity you mean?
Electric capacity to actually do the charging.
Oh, okay. It's in the area. Okay, it's in that. Yeah, it's in the area. Okay. I think I understand. Yep. Thank you. Any further comments, questions regarding the meeting of the managed committee? Seeing nothing further, put that. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Moving on to the reports of delegates. The first of those being the meeting of the Castlereagh and Macquarie County Council. Councillor Kinsey, you're happy to move the minutes of that meeting. Secondly, Councillor Whiteley. Councillor Kinsey.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The meeting was held in Canberra once again. It was, as per usual, it was probably not a bad event. It was good to have Greg Whiteley with us, Councillor Whiteley with us there too. Back up. Good. The only major thing that I think came out of it was that the bio control of this African boxhorn is going to get underway. The Chief Weeds Officer for the County Council was put in charge of administrating that, thanks to Greg, because you can see that later on it was just going to drag out, and she didn't have that total control. it was probably dragging out in the middle of summer by the time they got it going. So, we decided there and then to give her the authority to get stuck into it, to get it all, give a couple of sites at her discretion, and, get on with it. So I suppose, when that happens, and hopefully it'll be successful, we might get control of this thing with Northern Bread.
Okay. Let's say, question to Councillor Kinsey or Councillor Watt. Do we envisage anything happening within our local government area in terms of foxhole control?
Yeah, well, they probably won't be done here,
That trial?
that biological control probably won't be done here, because I've got some other sites.
Yep.
One in each.
Yeah, there was one, was there? Yeah.
Okay.
So there's five,
You get,
Councillor Watt.
there's five biological, it's been released by the CSIRO, and, the head weeds officer has been given, permission for 5 sites across the county council. One of them will be in this shire. There was some, discussion among the councillors where they should be, and, Councillor Kinsey and I have successfully moved that we left it up to the executive to do that. Otherwise, it was going to be something that would even come to this meeting to decide, and we didn't think that was appropriate. And then on another side, that there's the county councils. This was my first meeting there. They've got certain funds in the bank, and they've been using contractors as well as their permanent staff. There was an itemised per LGA of how much money they were spending in LGAs for each difference, and Councillor Kinsey and I successfully moved that we will also get itemised hours and time spent in every LGA from their permanent staff, just to keep all the shires comfortable, especially ours, that equity has been kept, and other than that, I don't think there was anything real serious on the project.
Just for council information, Major Finance Administration, what's our contribution to Castlereagh Macquarie County Council? Rough numbers.
Around about 113, 115.
Yeah. So it's important that we have an understanding of where that money is actually going. Thank you for raising that.
Just as a side, after the meeting, there was a lot of media activity about the fair at Lightning Ridge, and typical media, and especially certain media company facts weren't right.
Thank you, Councillor Whiteley. Anything further on the minutes of the meeting of the Castlereagh Macquarie County Council? Sorry, Councillor Kinsey.
it's always been the case that county council has always had an excessive expenditure after an event like we're having now. But we've never been able to claim funds for flood, which is going to cause us a lot more grief in spending money.
Yeah.
And it's just something that we should be able to do it, but I just don't know how we can prove that these events that are happening are going to cost us a lot of money this summer, but we can't do much about it. Let's just make the council aware that if they can think of somehow we can get a politician on side and tell him it's facts.
I think the Minister for Agriculture, who is our neighbouring local member, might be a good port of call to raise that issue when next we meet with him.
Excellent. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Kinsey. Thank you, Councillor Whiteley. Anything further on the minutes of the Castlereagh Macquarie County Council meeting? Nothing further. We'll put that. All those in favour? Yes, carried. Second meeting report of delegates pertains to the energy and mining related councils. Someone happy to move those minutes? Councillor Jackson, are you happy to move those? Second. Councillor Jackson.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I don't really have too much to say, but I note Mr Butler, the MP for Barwon's address regarding the tension between creating more jobs, bolstering the economy, and the downside housing accommodation stresses as a result of that. And there's some information there. Delegates do talk about population figures from DPIE, and the impact that that has on, because of the modelling they use on grant applications. So I thought that was an interesting point.
Thank you. Councillor Jackson, do you have something? No. Anything further on the minutes of the energy, mining and energy audit council's meeting? And further, put that, all those in favour? Yes. Carried. Moving on to the policy area, the first of those being on the alcohol and the drugs policy. Someone happy to move the recommendation, the amended policy be adopted. So, Councillor Jackson, second Councillor Jackson.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I have nothing to add to that, and I commend these changes to my report.
Just for council's information, random tests do occur, or how it's there? It's ongoing, it's been ongoing, thank you. That is gratifying. Any further comments, questions? Councillor
Chair, on my book, has it been embraced by the staff?
Could be a better culture.
I think, Councillor McCloskey, the important point is that our staff are operating at times heavy machinery and
Oh, yes, right.
in the public domain doing various works. They need to be right on top of their job, and I think it's, I think any fair and reasonable person would accept that that is the way it should be in the workplace. Just even the possibility of injury to their own fellow employees is the issue there as well. Sorry.
A necessary evil, for want of a better description.
Transport for New South Wales is, requirements on the state highway network is 0. Not 0.02, 0.
Anything further in relation to the slightly modified amended is better word, alcohol and other drugs policy? Nothing further, just put that, all those in favour? Yes, carried. The second one, in terms of policy, is the code of meeting practice policy. Someone happy to move that? Councillor Derrick, second. Councillor Jackson. Councillor Derrick.
Mr Mayor, could I actually move an amendment, or propose an amendment to the motion?
Yes.
Yes. So the final dot points under the second point, to the two last dot points. So I guess in starting with this out, so we did spend considerable time at the workshop last week, was that, or the week before? So I think we arrived at something that hopefully we can all be satisfied with. But the amendments I'd like to suggest, so the second last point regarding the wording. So we did have some examples given as to what wording might be. I think we all agreed at the workshop that we would like to see something very succinct and to the point. So the suggested wording might be, from the examples that we were given, Warren Shire Council acknowledges the traditional owners of lands within the Warren Shire and acknowledges the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who reside within the Shire. I don't know if we could do anything more succinct than that, but that was just, that's from one of the examples that were presented to us.
Jody, the acknowledgement of country wording be
As follows.
This open inverted commas. So not semicolons, open inverted commas. You just read it out slowly.
Yes, sure. So Warranshire Council acknowledges.
No, wrong spot. Yeah.
Sorry, the traditional owners of the lands. Within the Warranshire. So land that's in water. And acknowledges the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Sorry, peoples. Yes, who reside within this island.
Sorry, Councillor Derek, it was this shire or the shire?
This
This shire, okay.
Sorry.
Yep, no, it wasn't.
And get rid of that.
Yes. And the other part of the amendment is just potentially, and I think we did discuss this a little bit at the workshop as well, but the welcome to country being at the beginning of the term of council, and we did speak about making this a bit of an event. So instead of arbitrarily at the beginning of each year, to make it a special event at the beginning of each council term.
Councillor Derek, can you just check what's on the screen is what, just
Get rid of S on the Islander.
Oh yeah, sorry, thank you, yes. Yeah.
It should have been Torres Strait Islander people.
From the examples that we were given, I didn't create the wording. I'm not sure what the example.
yeah,
I don't have the example in front of me, but that was one of the examples that was presented at the workshop. So.
One the example that I've got from the workshop was it was just people, Torres Strait Islander people.
Who now reside within this shire.
I don't know
You don't?
the word now, do we?
Who just reside in the shire, you like that?
I don't.
With the permission, Mr Mayor, probably find that dot point above the two registered justices probably should be read out by the chairperson. Of the
Oh, yeah, sorry, I was looking along, yes. Yep. Yeah, I was going to add, a law can be held at the first council meeting of each new council term, and I think that and is there to, and be provided by an invited Aboriginal elder if possible. Councillor, do you have any further amendments?
That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Councillor Jackson, you were the second of the motion. Are you happy with those amendments?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was wondering if I could just ask a question.
Sure.
And is there a reason that we have not decided not to consult with the community on the wording, and second of all, that we don't mention elders past, present, or emerging?
First one is, I think if we consult, that leaves us very open to accepting or being asked to accept something that doesn't sit well with us. You know, the extreme cases could be anything. So I think it's better. We are the people who are doing the acknowledgement, therefore I think it sits with us the wording that we use. Second part is, we spoke in the council meeting about various matters that are occurring in our town, and I think that it's the wrong place to go in terms of, I don't know how to quite put this. I think there's a degree of respect that should work both ways.
Yeah, that's true, Mr. Mayor. As I said, this suggested wording is really just using examples of given and with a view to try to keep it succinct and meaningful as possible. So, yeah, without trying to create something for ourselves and to elaborate, that was basically just something that was succinct and to the point. So that's where that's coming from.
Councillor Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and for you, thank you, Councillor Derrick. I just want to clarify, because of how we've moved from the progression since the workshop. I do have one other question regarding this. Just wanted to raise whether or not some issues 7.1 through to 7.4. It says Mr. Mayor, Madam Mayor, Mr. Mayor, Mr. and Mrs. Councillor. Is that something that is taken from the current model code of conduct, or is that something taken from our previous code of conduct? Because I know it's very topical at the minute, pronouns are topical, and do we want to have something that's going to cover us for any pending changes we might be asked to make in how we address each other, and et cetera, et cetera?
I think that can be covered with an amendment to the code of medical practice at the time which is appropriate, is that?
Yeah, yes, but then an effort to change. But what section?
Okay, so it's 7.1, the 7.4, it's about pronouns.
Page
Imagine, page 25, sorry.
It's a section that the council can make a decision on, and so those are exactly the same in both hours of 2018 and the new model.
Right. So, Councillor Jackson, what I'm seeking then from you is that you are happy to second the amended recommendation. Yep, thank you. So, with that, the amendment becomes the motion.
It's just,
That is the motion. Yes, we don't have to even consider it as an amendment, do we? Because it becomes the motion. Councillor, is there any further comments, questions regarding the code of meeting practice policy?
Mr. Mayor, what that's going to allow everyone to happen is now about 40 or 50 days of having a good read of your draft document. Council officers and I tried our hardest to merge everything in the right way, but it's a pretty complicated document, and I'd like you to
Read it. Our draft.
Our draft, please.
Thank you. Councillor Jackson, the question?
Sorry, just wanted to make a comment, Mr. Mayor, how pleasing it is to have the option to dial in remotely when there's times of natural disaster, because it does become a work health safety issue when councillors have to navigate floodwaters and such to be able to attend the meeting. So I commend that particular point to be very handy indeed.
Would have been an ideal situation as we meet today, Councillor Jackson, for that to have been enacted already, but it hasn't been, so, but that's, I agree entirely, a very sensible way forward. Any further comments, questions regarding the code of meeting practice policy? So that will go out for a number of days now, 42 days.
Yes, and reported to the 1st of December council meeting.
Thank you. Any further comments, questions before we put that? If any case, we'll put that. All those in favour, against, carried. Moving on to reports of the general manager. First of those being the outstanding reports checks list. Someone happy to move those? Thank you, Councillor Whiteley. Councillor Jackson, Councillor Whiteley.
Mr. Mayor, Council, these, I commend these to you for your perusal and will comment on the first one. Councillor Kinsey and I were made aware yesterday that the company Graincorp, who their depot in Nevertire is renowned for being bad service, as the rest of the village and everything west, have the same problem in other things, and they're trialling over their major sub depot at Werris Creek, the Elon Musk low orbiting satellite technology, and all of a sudden Telstra's shown some interest to them. So, and if that technology works at Werris Creek, they might put it out over their other major sites, and Nevertire being one of them. But there is a possibility that once this technology is working, could stir the other major company into some sort of action.
Thank you, Councillor Whiteley. Councillor Kinsey.
On that note, Mr. Mayor, I was using Telstra internet coverage. I found it was that unreliable and slow and useless, so I just had to give up. So I'm using Mr. Musk's system at my place now, as are a couple of other residents of Nevertire. So I just noticed here that we're supposed to be getting in touch with the monthly to Telstra. I'd probably suggest you do it daily.
As it may be, Councillor Kinsey, I think the general manager has some more pressing matters to do with that present.
Well, I just hit button every day or something, I don't know.
Automatic, you think that's. You're just spending. Any further comments, questions regarding item 1 of the general manager's report? Councillor Paul.
Really, to me, just a couple of questions or one. With regard to the curb and gutter work, we've got an asbestos there is to be taken off the checklist. It's, and I'm assuming, given it's complete, does that include the sealing of the front of the gutter and the road works as opposed to the gutter itself being complete? So you know where the road base is out the front of it, it's still unsealed.
No, it's going, there's about 17 or 18,000 dollars left to do lots of sealing around the place.
And just another one, with regards to the light plant that we have on order and the 6 to 8 month period of wait for delivery, where are we in terms of that 6 to 8 months?
Very close.
We are we?
Yeah.
So
Been in there for 6 or 8 months.
that's what I mean, yeah, so are we getting closer to that date where,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. Any further comments, questions regarding item 1, the general manager's report, the outstanding report, surrounding checklist? Councillor Jackson.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I just had a question. You mentioned earlier that you're seeking, still seeking a person to fill that role of visitation manager. There's an item here that is dated 25th of August about expressions of interest for volunteers for the visitor centre and the reactivation of visitor services. If there's still nobody appointed to that role at the time that we start to see travellers come through, is there any plan for volunteers, activating volunteers or having those volunteers work with another organisation, or is there an update on that?
Mr Mayor, situation is that it's probably more appropriate that the management of the new volunteers would be done by the officer. The second part is that we do have other options that we may take up as part of some arrangements with other people, but that's still to be considered. We have started to collect up the list. It's not as if it's zero on that side, but I want it properly managed and done by someone as one of their first jobs.
Difficult as it may seem, Councillor Jackson, yes, I think you have to postpone a little bit. When this is set up, you want the ground rules established straight up and the same information for all people and the management situations for it. So I think there is, at the moment, it will have to just limp along, for want of a better term, as it's already existing. Sadly. Councillor Whiteley, then Councillor Kinsey, then Councillor Jackson. Councillor Whiteley.
On that appointment subject, I understand those application timings closed. We
Re-advertise.
you've read
Yeah, all completely again. And same networks and a few extra other networks that we discovered on the way, organised to get it out even further.
Councillor Kinsey.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just a appropriate time to talk about fire hydrants in town. Or some other time.
Is it
town services?
the general manager suggesting in town services, the engineering, when you come to the reports, the management of engineering services, in the town services branch, might come to that, Councillor Kinsey, if they call that, when we come to that time. Councillor Jackson.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. On page 16, there's an item date, it's asterisk, it says develop a contingency plan for flood events at the UMR waste depot. I was just wondering, did that plan get developed? Is that why it's been removed from this list?
You want to comment on the manager of development?
No, the plan has not been developed. I'm unclear as to why that's asterisk.
It's removed. Good pickup, councillor.
Pertinent, councillor. Just amend that so it is, yeah, defunding, exactly. Anything further on item one of the reports of the general manager, the outstanding reports checklist? Being nothing further, put that, all those in favour? Carried. Moving on to item two, which is the committee delegates meetings, and as is per our normal procedure. Oh, my presentation's gone, but it hasn't. Somewhere. Somewhere here, Jody, isn't it? Here it is. I know it's here. In recognition of Warren being a healthy town and to keep awareness of a healthy lifestyle, council is standing while dealing with item two of the general manager's report. So there's someone happy to move item two of the general manager's report, the committee and delegates meetings. Councillor Derrick, thank you. Councillor Kenzie, Councillor Derrick.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one question. I understand there is another Christmas street party meeting coming up on the 11th of October, but wondering if, so the date's been confirmed, have we started to put the date out there? Yes?
Yes.
On social media?
Yes. Second of December.
Yeah.
6 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. With fireworks at 9:30. We'll be able to either look from the roundabout or get over to Victoria Park.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Kenzie.
Mr. Mayor, County Council has a meeting in Kennebarra on the 31st of October.
At 2. Thank
On the
you.
meeting.
Any further additions, amendments, Councillor Jackson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the 8th of October, there is an Outback Arts Board meeting. As a council delegate who's attending, not sure if that should also be on that meeting schedule.
Who's that being held as for interest?
Okay.
Thank you. I think it's been noted. Any further comments, questions regarding the committee and delegates meetings? Either forthcoming or having been held? Being nothing further, we'll put that, all those in favour? Yes. Carried. Thank you. Moving on to item 3 of the report from the general manager, that being the works development report, infrastructure projects. Someone having to move the recommendation there, the information received and noted. Councillor Whiteley, second. Councillor Jackson, Councillor Whiteley.
Yeah, I recommend the general manager's item 3 report to the council and ask for any questions or comments.
Any further, any comments, questions? Yeah, Councillor Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wondering on page 24, equestrian arena, talk about the sand floor being relaid and a listing system should be completed in August 2022. Should that be updated since that happened?
The only thing that's missing is a fence around the pump and gates, a gate system around the pump and the pump listing's been done. It probably should have said September. That's right.
further on item 3, the general manager's report? Regarding infrastructure projects. Councillor Derrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just regarding the pedestrian access gate for the splash park, mentioned on page 22. I haven't driven past to see if it is actually there yet, but wondering if there is a time frame and whether that will be in place by the full opening time.
There's two gates, two separate gates we're talking about.
Yes.
So this is, thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor, this is the pedestrian access gate on Stafford Street for access to the splash park. So page 22.
Hopefully within a month, but not guaranteed before the court.
And the separate question regarding the second gate that Councillor McCloskey raised at this last council meeting regarding access, the other access to the swimming pool near the coronation plant. Perhaps the Manager's Health and Development might have.
Yes, through you, Mr.
Updates on
Mayor.
that?
Yes, it has been ordered. They're waiting on powder coating of some mesh. So yeah, we will have a status update on that on Monday.
And the curb and guttering that goes with it.
Yes, it will be arranged after the gates go in.
Councillor McCloskey.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, why can't the curb and gutter be done before the gates go in?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I wouldn't want to get it wrong.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if you know where the gates are going, why can't you lay back on the ramp or runway, if you want to call it, appropriately according to where the gates are going? So why can't that be done as opposed to being done after the gates?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it's one of many jobs that we're doing in a run of concreting works. So we have to team it up with some other projects that are happening for concreting works in line with other works at the same time.
Councillor McCloskey.
That's going to be there, Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry, it'll have to stay there. It's only very operational, Councillor McCloskey. The situation is that we've got a curb, a ramp that has to wait until lots of concrete work has to happen. Otherwise, you pay $800 a cubic metre instead of $300 a cubic metre. And the officer wants to put the gate in to know exactly the width of the curb and gutter work to happen. Okay? Because the next problem will be is you've missed it by 0.4 of a metre in width and a criticism that way. Okay? That's the situation.
No comment, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor McCloskey. The projects are in train, Councillor McCloskey. Thank you. Any further comments, questions regarding item 3, Councillor Jackson? Apologies.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Page 32, Lions Park toilet installation. 0.4, it still says contribution from the Warren Lions Club, waiting on confirmation provided verbally. Have they confirmed their contribution in any way other than verbally? And is that acceptable?
It will have to be, because of the people involved in the Lions Club. We found the 4 letters to them, they keep losing, and I mean 4 letters, because what they're actually also trying to do is trying to fund their 16,000 from elsewhere within the Lions Club organisation. But a bill will go to them and be expected to be paid, because when it's been all witnessed and they're right, just that the executive have had to manage it this way. Both executives of the club and the council.
I think, Councillor Jackson, we have to take their word as goodwill. It is Lion Park. They were the beneficiaries of substantial funding from the estate, or Dinsdale anticipate that they will keep their word and see a nice bit of infrastructure going into that part.
Before Christmas, but we can't guarantee. So we can't guarantee both of them before Christmas. That's why
I think that the lead time was 20 something weeks or something, 20 odd weeks. So, yeah, so they've been ordered as we well know. And, so hopefully they'll get here soon for both the CBD and for the Common Park. Anything further on item 3, the works progress report, infrastructure projects, report to the general manager? Nothing further, we'll put that, all those in favour, oh sorry, Councillor Jackson, no, I haven't put it, oh, you're in favour, is there something you want to, no? You're on the ball. We'll then put item 3, item 3, the general manager report, all those in favour, against, carried. Moving on to item 4, the reports of the general manager, that being the organisation and structure. Someone happy to move that recommendation has been outlined. Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Second to Councillor Kinsey. Councillor Jackson.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I commend this to council and comment that there's quite a bit of responsibility under some of these roles, and was wondering if there is also a structure chart that goes the next level down that shows, you know, team managers or how these how it's structured underneath the executive management team in terms of team managers, team leaders.
Mr. Mayor, there's 2 documents that help. There's the workforce strategic I have to get it right. Workforce strategy and plan, which is very open-ended, but that was what was used in the last 3 or 4 years as the drought was in trouble to actually reduce, but it can be open-ended, and that's why I'm able to increase the workforce within budgets. And the second part is each officer, including myself, have actually got expanded out of people who report directly within each section. That can be gotten to you as soon as possible if you want to. People's names and the positions as well.
Thank you. I think that workforce plan will be continually updated as we move into restoration type work.
And Mr. Mayor, that's hopefully happening in the next a few months. A rehash of the workforce plan and to council again as part of the integrated planning and reporting documents, because it's one of the integrated planning and reporting documents.
Thank you. Any further comments, questions regarding the organisational structure? Item 4 of the report to the general manager. Nothing further. Put that, all those in favour? Against? Carried. Moving on to item 5, pertaining to Christmas closure. Someone happy to move that recommendation? Councillor Jackson, second. Councillor Kinsey. Councillor Jackson.
I have nothing further to add, so I'm just coming with this information.
Back to normal.
Yeah, well, that's it. Nothing further on item 5. We'll put that, all those in favour? Against? Carried. Item 6 in the report to the general manager, that being the meeting dates, times and order of business. Will that order of business need to be amended?
No, it kind of, Mr. Mayor, it kind of has. There's two things we need to point out to you. Is there's a kind of new number 12 that's supposed to have been there in the report. Presentations always was there.
Yes.
It's the draft document. We've actually purposely left, I think it's 8.1 and 8.2 in. It says that the council can resolve like that. And also here is our order of business. That is the order of business of right now.
Yes. And number 3 is the ordinance be amended by change to the current code of legal practice. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So that's.
There's not much changes, because I write reports to council, that's where all our officers are, and the policy. Yeah. And it's reasonably open-ended, and I've changed, instead of having reports of committees / delegates, I like saying reports of committees, reports of delegates. And that's what we've been doing kind of separately, but this time there's a slash. And in the new draft new code of meeting practice, you'll notice that it's actually a full dot point. It says, there's no real changes, it's just a tidy up. Yeah. But this one here is our current practice. Because of course there's no acknowledgement in the country because that's no current practice.
No, yes, so that was just his some questions. First, I haven't got a move in the second for item 6. Someone, Councillor Jackson, having to move. Councillor Kinsey. Now to be a bit more formally structured. Councillor Jackson.
Thank you. I have nothing further to add.
So councillors will note that we meet in October and then again December.
Very important Wednesday.
Sorry, that other, yes, the first one is the new year 2023 meeting on Wednesday, the 25th of January, the day before Australia Day. Any further comments, questions regarding item 6, the report to the General Manager? Nothing further, we'll put that. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Moving on to the reports of the Division of Annual Finance Administration, the first of those being the reconciliation certificate. Someone happy to move that?
Councillor, did you wink at us then?
It's really clear up here.
Thank you. Move Councillor McCloskey, seconded Councillor Derrick. Councillor McCloskey.
No, just move the report recommendation.
Thank you. Managing Finance Administration would be a comment. Pleased to see interest rates slowly a little bit better than they've been for some time.
It's really, when we actually put a $3 million investment on today, that's 3.45.
Oh. Well, that's in the days of, yes, the ones in summer at 3.4.
Yeah,
yes.
8.3,
Any further comments, questions regarding the reconciliation certificate item 1 to Division Manager Finance Administration's report? If nothing further, we'll put that. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Moving on to item 2, statement of annual rates and charges. Someone has to move the recommendation. Item 2, Division Manager Finance Administration report. Councillor Kinsey move that. Councillor Jackson. Councillor Kinsey.
Move the recommendation, Mr. Mayor.
Anything further on item 2 of the reports of the Division Manager of Finance Administration, reconciliation certificate? Sorry, the statement of annual rates and charges. Nothing further, we'll put that. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Moving on to item 3, Division Manager of Finance Administration report pertaining to works progress. And those being the Finance Administration projects. Someone happy to move that recommendation? Councillor Kinsey, thank you. Councillor McCloskey. Councillor Kinsey.
Exciting things are happening, Mr. Mayor. I'll move the recommendation. Thank you.
A question goes to the Manager Finance Administration regarding the solar panels and that closing on the 8th of September. How did you receive some quotations and?
Yeah, Manager Finance, Manager of Development sort of put it on, but we've got about 13.
25. Through you, Mr. Mayor, 25.
So that was the difference, that wasn't like 13 for the full one and 11 for that one, wasn't it?
Hey, Angela,
Like,
25.
put out one with only the buildings,
Yes,
one with only the ground mounted.
Yes.
And one with the combined.
Combined, yes.
So there's 25 all up, but there's a lot that are quoted on just the building or just the
Yeah.
whole one.
all the whole lot. Yep,
And there's an assessment being undertaken on Friday afternoon, on what's coming in. Oh, it's a pretty good response. So.
very good responses. Excellent. And so who's undertaking that, assessment of the quotations?
The infrastructure project manager, town services manager, if you're going to have to develop it, I'll get them, trying to hit them there too, I suppose.
Thank you. And we had a presentation some time ago regarding the solar infrastructure that we talked about.
Through Charter Works and-
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we seeking any input from them into that assessment of the quotations, or how you?
We will certainly be looking, after we go through them and start looking at them, we'll certainly be looking at using their expertise as well.
Yes, thank you. That's the question I wanted to have
We're
answered.
not buying stuff that's only going to last a few years, but yeah, good stuff, yeah.
Thank you. Any further comments, questions regarding item 3 of the works progress report, Management Finance Administration? Councillor Whiteley.
Through you, Mr. Bear, question, the planning of the library upgrade is progressing?
Could you further Management Finance Administration?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, it is, we're still doing, very creative advances to do the rest of it. Finalised concept design for the very creative advances to look at the structural reports for the building. We sort of split that out and then look at the outside landscaping after that, after we get all the door actually all fixed up properly first. And then see what that's going to cost us, see how far we can go for landscaping.
Thank you. Anything further on item 3, Division Management Finance Administration report? Nothing further. We'll put that, all those in favour, against, carried. Move on to item 4, financial assistance grants. Ministry would have brought a smile to the Division Management Finance face. Someone having to move the recommendation, motion received and noted. Thank you, Councillor Whiteley has moved that. Second, Councillor McCloskey. Councillor Whiteley.
Council, Mayor, I commend the item to the council. I was, I found this very interesting and I need to do some learning so that, I, following your graphs and ask the question of the Manager of Finance and Administration, how the process of equalisation works.
Brilliant, Mr. Mayor. What time do we want to finish the game?
I was about to say, Councillor Whiteley, you've opened a can of worms here. Even those who really understand it have difficulty explaining it.
I apologise, Mr. Mayor and Manager, but yeah, I couldn't quite follow it.
Division Management Finance Administration will give you the 1-minute version, but it is a complicated and convoluted process.
Brilliant, Mr. Mayor. There is, well, in the component, there's a minimum payment for population, and then it goes on isolation. We put in a lot of stuff for isolation. The Grants Commission then go and put their formulas in and allocate, and then if there's anything left over, then they'll give it to probably the most disadvantaged councils. So it's been in the last probably 5-6 years, the rural and remote councils seem to be getting a fair bigger slice of the pie, if you like, of the leftover. Because a city, like a Blacktown City Council, their FAGS grant based on their huge population is it's a drop in the ocean. Whereas if it got away from being a population-based calculation to a needs-based, we'd probably get more in the rural and remote areas and less in the Sydney areas. But the formula is that complicated that I tried to do it about 10 years ago, if not much further, and then I thought it was getting close, and then we got nowhere near it because I said, I know we had a fair bit of money left over, so we just give it to disperse it to the councils that need it the most.
so.
Councillor White, the Division of Management Finance Administration has touched upon a point that is continually made by rural councils, is that that population-based component is very significant. City councils get a lot of money, we don't, as a result of their population, we don't get that as a result of our population, so there's been ongoing discussions about how that particular issue may be addressed. They have parking fines and other methods of revenue that far outweigh their population component. We certainly don't have that. And the discussion is being held, and some administration might want to add to that.
No, truth be, it needs a change of policy, basically, it's in the actual regulations, but it is a population-based allocation, along with other, isolation disadvantage factors are in there as well, but, that could remove the actual population part of it out, and just go straight to a need isolation and needs basis. Yeah, I mean, Blacktown City make more in parking fines in one day than what they did in the whole grant, but you give us an extra $300,000 or $400,000 or more out to the bush, we can do a lot more with it than what they will. So yeah.
So you, through you, Mr. Mayor, your relative other equivalent size councils, we're about on par.
Well, as
I noticed Lachlan's a long way in front, but I just wanted to.
again, through Mr. Mayor, yeah, Lachlan is, well, certainly they are in the roads section, because they've got a lot more roads than us, which that's for their isolation. They're a much bigger shire in area, but when you get, like, then you look at your Warreners and the Walgets, mightn't be such as larger area, but more in the disadvantaged and Aboriginal populations and things like that will come in with Aboriginal Torres Strait. So yeah, so we've always sort of had the lowest grant because we've got the lowest amount of roads compared with our neighbours. And another big thing is that our advantage in some ways and disadvantage in others is that our land values here in Warren Shire are a lot higher than what they are in our surrounding shop councils as well. So that detracts on some of their grant amount, just because our land values are much higher, and they're saying, well, if your land values are that much higher, you should be able to generate more income from your rates, but then they don't look at your rate cap. So yeah, it's a catch-22. So yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, like historically, FAGS grants were all but frozen, weren't they, for a couple of years, and that's always left us that lag. I forgot what years they were, but it was a fair while ago, but you're always playing catch up on that, when they were all but frozen. I think yeah, no, it's no need to, it's just, it's good to see that an upward trend is probably the point I'm really making, as opposed to the flatlining, and we was, certainly put a little bit of pressure on in terms of ability to do things. What's that, sorry?
Become $1,000.
Yeah, from that period, yeah. But nonetheless, 240 something in front of where we might have been.
Yeah, well, I'm always pretty conservative when it comes to the financial assistance grant when we do our estimate, because we did before, thinking we're going to get a good increase, and we actually didn't, and then we had to find the money in the budget to do another. You're looking at it now and trying to find it.
Exactly. No. Thank you. Anything further on item 4, the financial assistance grants report from the Management Finance Administration? Nothing further, we'll put that. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Moving on to reports of the Division Main Collection Insurance. First of those, the works progress report pertaining to roads. Someone have to move the recommendation. We need the roads committee here. Thank you, Councillor Whiteley, Councillor McCloskey. Councillor Whiteley.
Commend the report for comment and questions to Divisional Manual Engineering Services.
Yeah, we also had the last council meeting, grading action went to the dry posting.
Yeah, people have got posts work done. The work that can't be done. Is probably the right thing, isn't it?
I have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Certainly, councillor Whiteley.
Seeing this is probably a statewide unprecedented, pothole environment, is our, table and tar patcher working to capacity?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, it's doing five days a week, when the man's available, times between 11 and half and 12 hours a day.
Any further comments, questions regarding item 1? Councillor Kingston.
Mr. Mayor, due to the weather we're having at the moment, I think it's a fairly ideal time to be trying to kill these mile trees that look beside the roads. It's an unbelievable opportunity to get rid of them, because they will respond to poison when it's wet. Try and knock them out with a bulldozer or something, like just grow up behind you. You've got to kill them first. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Kinsey.
Yes, Mayor, that's not it.
No, thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, again, so Kingsley, that's small.
He's not finding them. On the side, anyway. Councillor Whiteley's question, then councillor Boston.
I'm following Councillor Kinsey, and forgive council for me, but my travels this week, and topically we had a Nevertide Bushfire Brigade meeting yesterday. The growth of the clover on the sides of the road, Rinda Road, such as to the point, obviously it will fall as it dries, but it is it's got 350 plus mils. I understand the slashers are busy, but I commend engineering services to investigate the possibility of spraying prior to summer crop being planted. The chemical that you use for that clover is needs to be done in the next 3 weeks, or else it'll be illegal, and it'll be very cost effective at the moment.
Again, not it.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, because of the fire risk of these, even our diesel vehicles now burn off, and exhaust burn off, and we see, especially visitors to us, pulling up on the side of the road to answer the telephone.
No, I mean, there is, as you probably aware, in the budget, there is money that comes from bushfire hazard reduction, so where that sits in dollar amounts for this year, I'm not exactly certain, but
Higher than last year, and very pleasingly, just that those 2 big John Deeres pumping water.
Noted, and thank you for that, councillor Whiteley. Councillor Bosky.
3 minutes, Mayor. Just in light of Councillor Whiteley's comment about the pay volume and the general manager's comment re the time that it's working, is our second patching truck operation, given that I understand the circumstances we find ourselves in, and the fact that we haven't done much grading in the last month, is an opportunity that's not operational to somehow man it to get it going in light of the pothole situation we have?
Yes, when it's not broken down, Mr. Mayor. It's got a problem with it at the moment. We have not been able to fix it, and it's actually over in Traxur's getting trying to be fixed.
Yeah, true. I know that in the report of the workshop coordinator.
He's tried his hardest for some time, and that's it. He's headed it off. I don't know where it's at, but sure, because what's happened is that within reason, it could be manned because our grader crews can't.
That's what I'm coming from. In terms of resources and
Yeah.
time, given the circumstance, the potential is to man it, given, well, I drove from here to Canberra on the weekend, I don't think I've seen a pothole patched in 500k.
So we just did 70 yesterday on the highway and 200 the week before on the highway.
So, in light of that, and given it's a track serve, is there any, in talking with track service to where they may be in terms of fixing the problem, is it a week away, a fortnight, a month, or they've just thrown their hands in the air and parked it down the back?
It only went away a couple of working days ago.
As a priority then, I think chasing that up, again, making that request, and then the community services and just follow that, because I agree with entirely, Councillor Costin, it is an issue, it's going to dry down again a little bit, and they, almost as fast as you can patch them, there's another spot of yours. Thank you. Any further comments, questions regarding item 1 of the Division Manager and Community Services report?
If I may, Mr. President. Item 1, in regards to the grant applications, with respect to the fixing local roads round 4, both gravel re-sheeting and reseals, there is a component of council's money in there of 354,000 for the gravel re-sheeting and 300,000 for the reseals. If we're unsuccessful in getting the grant application to take that figure out to essentially 1.6,
1.3, maximum 1 million for those special funding.
Yes.
Plus the.
Are those then monies going to be utilised on a priority basis to fund some form of work program, both gravel re-sheeting and reseals this year?
You see it on page 6.
That's what I'm looking at, page 6.
Yes. We're using that money to help fund.
Yeah, but short of being,
It goes back to them.
Yeah.
That's the idea. We want to make it a $1.35 million project instead of 400 times 2. 1.35, whatever it is, times 2.
Yeah. But short of being successful, the monies will be
That's
utilised
exactly
in some form,
that's
being
right.
realistic, to do some form of work.
Yes.
And that's what we did last time when we missed out. For the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea is, as you alluded to, Councillor McCloskey, is get maximum bang for our buck in terms of fixing local roads, and then in the worst case scenario, we're not successful, that money is still potentially is used, or it sits there for the next round. We will anticipate that, well, we'll have to wait and see what the politicians and state government do, whether there's another round of fixing local roads as well. Thank you. Any further comments or questions regarding item 1 of the Division Manager Research report pertaining to roads? Being nothing further, put that all those in favour. Carried. Moving on to item 2, the Division Manager Engineering Service report, works progress in regard to town services. Councillor Kinsey, I wonder whether you might be able to move this and then let your matter. Second note. Councillor Whiteley, Councillor Kinsey.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we had a Nevertide bushfire meeting yesterday, and a couple of things came up. One was those hydrants in town. The consensus of opinion of the meeting was that they haven't been opened up and flushed and all that stuff for over 2 years. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's what's said, and, asking the people who live next to them, that's what was going on. So that's not real good, but anyhow, while it's wet, I'll probably get on with that maybe. But the other one was there's a key that, at our tower, that the fire truck needs to get water out of that tower. We can't get it because there's a key there, and we don't seem to be able to get access to the key. So I was wondering if we could get the key and leave it inside the fire truck in the fire shed at Nevertide. Probably the same, probably no emergency at the moment, but who knows?
Wait for the sound of Councillor Kinsey, and you're looking for it, or you'll be looking for it.
Mr. Mayor, I think I'm not the second issue, the key to the Nevertide at all. Yeah, I'll take that on notice, and the other issue about hydrants.
Yeah,
We are progressively working on hydrants. We've come up with a schedule. So the flushing is to be done every 4 months, 3 months, whatever. Yeah, we had a meeting 2 weeks ago, I think, with the RFS and Fire and Rescue, and we came up with some agreements about how to go about fire hydrants. Among them being, we issued to them maps showing the positions of the hydrants. We've marked the positions of the hydrants using paint and also the blue cat's eyes, and of course the flashing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So that does mean that we are going to get this done for a few months?
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, since maybe they're not done already.
Not the one.
Warren certainly is very, very close to finishing.
Councillor White.
The two other bushfire brigades at Collie and Demeter, make sure that the captains of them are consulted as well. Not just the town bushfire brigade.
Collie doesn't have,
There's a truck,
Collie doesn't have hydrants.
Demeter does.
Yeah, it's a non-fire supply, water supply at Collie. But sure, I don't understand the problem with the key to the standpipe. There probably is no problem.
There is. The standpipe's got a gate under it, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
Standpipe's got a gate, like a valve, and it's locked. And we don't have access to the key.
No, I was just saying it won't be a problem. So
I think we'll address it very shortly. Councillor Kinsey, can you make sure that it is addressed so that, that's ticked off, please? Thank you. Thank you. Any further comments, questions regarding the works progress report, town services? Councillor McCloskey.
3 minutes there, just in light of the heightened the water situation. In terms of our pumping capacity and ability, both bore water and river water, because I happened to notice going to the racecourse the other day, it appeared to be a pump lane from Bore Flat. It looked like it was out of the ground. Where are we in terms of being able, given we're coming into summer and a high demand period for water, both river water and bore, with our pumps? Are they all operational? And do we have spares and the like, given we find ourselves in trouble come summer?
No and yes. The depot, they can't, at the moment, can't get put in. Ellengerard is the one that we're relying on.
Ellengerard, the bore. Yep. So Ellengerard is the only bore water supply we're going into the reticulations to make.
I believe so.
So the pump that was on the ground down here at the new Bore Flat establishment is broken down away.
Getting some work in.
Where's that hole?
So it means we've only got one bore water pump operation.
17 hours a day. Yep.
And playing the devil's advocate, it breaks down.
That's probably why they're trying to make sure something that's happened later. You are able to expand on that anymore?
Yeah, previously, the pump that was down at the Buffer was removed so that it can be inspected. It is requested by the water department that it gets inspected. It is an issue with, after the inspection, it will be put back. But we currently rely on only energy.
So if that means it's functioning, but it's not able to be replaced because of the inspection taking place. So I'm not quite clear.
The ball flat,
Yeah, all that, yeah.
will be inspected and put back.
inspected by,
by water department.
Water New South Wales?
Yeah.
So do they understand the predicament we're in if the LNGR one fails, and when's that timeframe then?
We need to, perform.
Yeah, I think we need to know that. I mean,
If we were to lose Ellenborough, yeah, but we're not in a real, we're in a sticky situation.
It is a predicament that we need to discuss with the water department.
Water New South Wales, that is. Is that who we're talking about? Water New South Wales?
Yeah.
External party, it's not nothing to do with our water crews.
Yeah, it's excellent.
External, yeah. I think General Manager's gone through some further information about that, but I'll take questions. Councillor Kinsey, Councillor Higgins first, sorry. Then.
The second bore on board flat, it's not used anymore, it's the one behind the quarry shed.
I can't answer that, Councillor Higgins.
Well, it's used too.
Yeah, which is more, again, through Mr. Baird, in the past used to be known as Bore 1, which is directly behind the chlorine shed. Is that, yeah, again, I've got the question I was going to ask, is that functional? If it's not, what's happening with it? Has it been, is the ability to put it into the main system as a backup, as another pumping system as well?
I'm sure Councillor McCloskey, I think if it's okay with councillors, we'll just put that aside for the minute and wait for the General Manager to return, and just hopefully we've got some more clarity on that whole matter, understanding where we are. Are there any other questions, comments regarding item 2 that you might deal with in the General Manager's absence?
Just to clarify the situation, bore flat, and there's the Allen-Gerard boards. There's two of them at Allen-Gerard, a large one and a small one. The large one is actually getting used between 16 and 17 hours a day. Bore flat for the last 5 years is a new one, but it has not really been used very much in that last 5 years. Part of the inspection that's been done is to pull it out and get it checked and made sure any tidy-ups required for the bore flat setup by Aqua West, which is happening, we hope, within a week. There are 2 bores down there, a small one and a big one. The big one, so there is contingency, redundancy at Allen-Gerard, but it's by a small bore pump. Okay? So the one down here is done the right thing, it's got it away to get tested, checked, make sure it's right before it goes back in to be even a bigger contingency for the whole of the tank. Okay?
And then while you're absent, Councillor McCloskey and Councillor Higgins had some questions regarding the second bore at Bore Flat. Is that still operational, and can it be hooked into the system, or if it's not, that presently into the system? Do we know? Is that the question? Sorry, I've got it.
Yeah, the pump that's behind the chlorine shed, Bore 1, is, just like me as to whether the bore water tower with the mural on it is not functional operation any longer. Right, so the bore that's used to supply that Bore 1 is turned off and not operational as a result of that. So is it an option then to be piped or plumbed into the system as another pumping operation? Given it, certainly if I remember correctly, it used to pump directly into the top of the tower.
Yeah, well, I can't tell you at the moment, but the situation is that while bore flat, the main bore flat is out for about a week, we've got 1.5 contingency down here. And I think the reason why he's wanting to actually make sure it's right is the main bore flat one, he actually wants to try to actually make sure that it actually shares the load a bit more than that one as well. I can't tell you about the old bore one.
Mr. Mayor, can I suggest that I come up with now? Apart from the next council meeting.
So, thank you, bring us up to speed about where we are in terms of all water supply. Yeah, we're talking about pumps, the river pumps, how are they situated as well? It's soon enough, but it's really come through me. You will come, but just where we are, the status at the present, so we know where we are, because there's been on the checklist there for some time about the river pumps, and their servicing and the ability to change them over if needs be. So, Councillor, we're happy with getting the report back, and I'll ask you, Councillors Higgins and McCloskey there, to report back regarding the status of the bores and the river pumps, the bore pumps and the river pumps, and where they are for the next council meeting. Councillor Whiteley.
Could I add to that? Yeah, I think there's, in conversations the other day, that there's some legal requirements on the licences of those that are not quite finished yet, not from our problems, but from licensing department of state water.
Yes, and I think that's been worked through, Councillor Whiteley, so hopefully that will come to fruition too. I don't think it's an issue, it's just that I work through the legalities again. Any further comments, questions regarding item 2, Division Manager Engineering Services report? Councillor McCloskey.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, everyone. On page 26, the top of page, on Player Creek, Macquarie and Roadwood Park, the sand pits are raked daily. Should we not be looking at getting a softball system that is somewhat maintenance-free, given that the parking at Macquarie Park used to have a softball system before the refurbishment? Now they've gone back to putting sand in, which is more of a maintenance problem. So is it an option to look at both those locations with a less maintenance orientated system, softball, similar in vein to what's in Lions Park up here?
I think it's, my view, yes, it's something to look at. What the history of that, Councillor McCloskey, is that we didn't have the funding available at the time to do softball there. So sand went in, much to the chagrin of many, but it's been linked to obviate any potential hazards. And to date, there's been a set of keys and some sunglasses, I think, found in the sand over the number of years that we've been required since its refurbishment. So, yeah, we take on board your point. I think it's probably something that's subject to grant funding. Councillor McCloskey. But, noted. Yep, I mean, yeah, we'll wait and see in the run up to this state government election, Councillor McCloskey, what possibilities are, and maybe if there's something fits that space, well, yeah, it's certainly saving in the workforce doing it every.
That's right. It just frees to get through. It frees that resource up. To go beyond doing something else, given if the sand wasn't there.
Any further on item 2, the Division Manager Engineering Services report? Being nothing further, we'll put that. All those in favour? Against? Moving on to item 3, the work progress report, the Division Manager of Engineering Services pertaining to a fleet in the workshop. Someone happy to move that recommendation? Thank you, Councillor McCloskey. Second, Councillor Kinsey. Councillor McCloskey.
No, I just move the recommendation and I question if I'm right. In light, two new guys in the tender trucks we received, did we get them not optioned up or specced up with bull bars, given with all the bull bars thereafter been put on?
Yes.
So any reason why they weren't optioned up with bull bars in the specs for the liquid?
Been told they were missed.
Thank you.
Getting on.
Yeah, but, yeah, just one of those things that, yeah.
Before a route
That's right, you've got, yeah, as opposed to coming with the bullbar on.
So I'm looking, Councillor McCloskey, it was plant 50 you were talking about, the Isuzu tail truck.
Three with me, yeah, plant 2340 and 2341. He was a tender truck.
Oh, yeah, right, sorry, then
Oh,
going back
28.
back in the history about the tar truck, paved line.
Oh,
tar
yes,
truck,
yep.
Plant 50, so I'm seeing here, they can't look at the machine for at least 2 weeks, whenever that date, they wanted.
Yeah,
So looking at it and then doing something with it over a little period of time, both.
what page is it on, Smith, sorry?
On page 29.
Because that was written 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, okay.
That's why it's there now.
Yeah. Yeah, if that could be chased up and let's get an idea, that would be an excellent outcome. Thank you. Anything further on item 3, the Division Manager of Engineering Services report? Completing the workshop. Nothing further, we'll put that. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Moving on to reports of the Manager of Health and Development. First of those, the development application approval. Someone happy to move those? Councillor Kenzie, Councillor Jackson, Councillor Kenzie.
These things being done, Mr. Mayor. There's a recommendation.
Thank you. Any further comments, questions regarding item 1? Planning Health and Development report. The ayes, none further, we'll put that. All those in favour, against. Moving on to item 2, works progress reports. Management Health and Development, someone happy to move recommendation information to be received and noted. Councillor Derrick, second to Councillor Jackson. Councillor Derrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No specific questions, but just generally relating to the pool. I assume that everything's on track for pool feed open as scheduled.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes.
Thank you.
That's the answer we would like to hear. Management Health and Development, thank you. Anything further on item 2 of the Division the Management Health and Development's report? Oh, sorry, Councillor Jackson wasn't looking up. Thank you, Councillor Jackson.
Thank you, Commissioner. Sorry, I just wanted to know that, page 4, 2.21, Warren Performing Arts Connection through Music. What is that specific project called?
Sorry, can you please repeat the question?
Oh, sorry, 2.21, Warren Performing Arts Connection through Music, on page 4. Just wondering what that project is called. What is that project?
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. Council received an application through the Early Targeted Intervention Funding Program, and it's from the Francis Evans and Hannah Russ music group at the Central School.
Thank you. Any further comments, questions regarding item 2, the works progress report, Management Health and Development? Nothing further with that. Thank you. All those in favour? Against? Carried. There are no motions or questions with notice. I have no matters of urgency. We'll move on to item 9 on our agenda, confidential matters. We'll move into a committee of the whole. First thing we need is a resolution to proceed into a committee of the whole to consider the matters listed. So someone happy to move that we move into a committee of the whole? Councillor Jackson, Councillor Derrick. put that, all those in favour? Against? Carried, sorry. Need resolution to exclude the press and the public, and so I wonder if the same two councillors might move that. Second resolution, move the members of the public and the press. Again, we'll put that, all those in favour? Against? Carried. Councillors, we now resume the normal monthly September meeting of Warrandyte Council. Having had the committee of the whole closed council, we're back into normal council procedure. There are two items that have come out of that committee of the whole closed council. I'll ask the general manager to read those two items, the recommendations and the motions that have come with those.
Mr Mayor, in regard to item 1, Warren Family Health Centre, the recommendation was 1, that the information received and noted. 2, council authorises the mayor, the general manager and the divisional manager of finance administration to finalise negotiations and agree to arrangements including financial in relation to the Warren Family Medical Centre and associated buildings and facilities. 3, authority will be given to the mayor and/or general manager if required to sign all documents in relation to the leases, agreements, etc. of the Warren Family Medical Centre and associated buildings, facilities under the seal of council. And item number 2, in relation to Coatings Condition Assessment Report, Warren War Memorial Swimming Pool, the recommendation is 1, the information received and noted, and 2, council engaged Blackwell Short to commence legal proceedings against Bowcorp Aquatics and Construction, and 3, council authorises the mayor, the general manager and the manager of health and development services to formulate settlement terms if required.
Thank you. We need to put those items separately.
Yes.
I'm going to item 1, and it's been moved by Councillor Whiteley, Councillor Jackson, in regard to the Warren Family Health Centre. Is there any further comment, question? Sorry, do we have to actually ask them to move those again now? Yes, I will just to formalise it first. Moved, Councillor Whiteley, seconded, Councillor Jackson. Item 1, pertaining to the Warren Family Health Centre. Councillor Whiteley, any further comments, questions?
No, I commend the motion to the council.
Thank you. Any further comments, questions from fellow councillors? Being nothing further, we'll put that. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Moving on to item 2, the report of the Manager of Health and Development Services regarding the Coatings Condition Assessment Report supplement. Well, sorry, Councillor Jackson. Councillor Derrick, you happy to move and second that item? Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Anything further? Anything further, councillors, before we put that? Nothing further, we'll put that. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you, councillors, and that concludes the September monthly council meeting.